Hey guys, so it's that time already. I get to talk about my favourite films of 2015, even if the video is a little bit overdue. Making this list was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Seeing that it's the first end of year list for my channel, I wanted to get it just right and include films that I felt deserved to be on this list. Believe it or not, my original list was 20 films long, but as the year progressed, better films came out, and those films that were originally on the list I started to realise weren't as good as I originally thought, and they started to be knocked off one by one. So now it's gone from 20 to this list that I'm going to give you today, which is now 10. Also, there's just a few things I want to clear up before I start this list. First of all, I didn't see every film that came out this year. For example, Sicario, Steve Jobs, Me, Earl and the Dying Girl, Bridge of Spies, films that I really wanted to see, but unfortunately never got the chance to. Also, there are some films that will be on other people's 2015 lists, but unfortunately won't be on mine due to the fact that they haven't come out yet. Films like The Hateful Eight and The Revenant don't come out for us until January this year. So unfortunately they don't class as 2015 films. Also, one very important thing that I must stress before I start this list is that the grades don't particularly matter. The grades that I gave a film don't really come into play here, because a film, for example, that I gave 10 out of 10 to may be below a film that I gave only 9 out of 10 to. The only criteria that makes a film eligible for this list is the amount of fun that I had with it. The grade is just initially what I thought of that film, and that grade is still there. The films are placed on this list in order of how much I enjoyed them. So there are some films that you may think are in an odd order, but that's just the way I work. Also, one last thing before I get started with my list is some honourable mentions. Now, take into note that here in the UK we get some films that were released the year before a year late. So there will be 2014 films in my honourable mentions and in my best of the year list, but that's because they came out for us in 2015. I've explained this in a previous video, but if you want more on that, go and check my Birdman or John Wick reviews. First honourable mention is Ant-Man, the film that basically showed me that Marvel can do anything and it will be good. Shut up and take my money, it will be good. It was funny, the visual effects were fantastic, and it was really well cast as well. Michael Douglas was superb. The next honourable mention is Legend. Now, if it wasn't for Tom Hardy's excellent performance in this film, it would have just been some regular, kind of stylish crime film that was trying to be the next Goodfellas. But because of his performance, it elevates it to an entirely new level, that it's unlike anything you will ever see. The next two honourable mentions are, like I said, 2014 films, but they came out in early 2015 for us. And those films are John Wick and Birdman. John Wick is a very cool, very stylish action film that is one of the best that I've seen in a while, and it's probably Keanu Reeves' best performance. And Birdman is just a film that is so interesting and kind of weird that I just keep coming back to it time and time again just to pick out bits that I missed before, and it's just so good and so different. The last honourable mention that I have is Predestination, a film that not a lot of people have heard of, and I do recommend that you check it out. If you like sci-fi thrillers that mess with your mind in a completely unique way, then you will absolutely love Predestination. Anyway, with that being said, let's get on with the list. At number 10 is a film that I don't think enough people have seen, and it deserves to be seen way more than it should have been. Slow West is my number 10 choice. I know not everybody liked this film when they saw it, but I think the slow pace really pays off, because there are very few times in films where the slow pace actually works. But in this film it does, and the payoff with such an incredible ending just makes it even better. Also, the cinematography in this film is fantastic. At number 9 is The Gift, a film that I didn't see till recently, and I am ever grateful for it. It completely blew me away. I was surprised by it. Jason Bateman is the best he's ever been. Joel Edgerton is also very good in the film, but it's his direction that is absolutely fantastic. Also, the ending, like Slow West, was just so well executed. At number 8 is Ex Machina, a very clever and very well acted film that kind of didn't bring anything new to the table and was a little bit predictable in places, but with a film like this you can kind of let it slide because it is directed so well and the acting is just so good. Also, there are some really good visual effects in this where I'm kind of like, how the fuck did they do that? I mean, it is a really good film. Some people did get put off by its slow pace, but if you like intelligent sci-fi films that are not afraid to question humanity in the process of being an AI thriller, then this will be for you. Number 7 is Kingsman: The Secret Service. I had a smile on my face the entire time I watched this film, and I just keep coming back to it again and again. It's just a fun action film that knew exactly what it was, didn't take itself seriously, and it was ever better for it. Also, it contains the single best fight scene I have ever seen. Honest to God, the scene in the church, which you've probably all heard of by now, is one of the best scenes I have ever seen. At number 6 is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which I think is now my favourite in the series. I mean, it was Ghost Protocol, but this film just got so many things right that it kind of knocks Ghost Protocol out of the way. I mean, it's epic on a scale that is believable. The direction in this film is great. The bike chase, which I mentioned in my review, is fantastic. And just everything works. They blend what is good about the first film and what is good about the fourth film, which are two of the best in the series, put it together and you have Rogue Nation. It was just so well executed, and if rumours are true and Christopher McQuarrie is coming back for the 6th one, then I'd be over the moon. At number 5, which is a film that I thought was going to be higher on my list, but in fact it just feels fine at number 5, is Inside Out. Pixar's best film in years. It's just such a good film. I mean, it had every emotion going for it, and for a film about emotions, it did its job perfectly. I mean, I cried, I laughed, I cried a bit more. Just everything that a film like this should have done did it so well. At number 4 is another return to form that I was so glad to see on the opening weekend, is The Martian. Ridley Scott's best film in ages. Even though I didn't mind Prometheus, this is miles better. I mean, Matt Damon is at his career best work. Ridley Scott is on fire on direction, and for such a unique take on a concept like this, because the concept of someone being trapped on Mars could have been handled like Castaway, or really depressing and, you know, there's no hope for him and he's going to cry all the time. But they don't. They handle it with such optimism, and Matt Damon is just one of the most likeable people ever put to screen. It's just handled in such a unique and fun way that it just feels right, and you want to see every minute of him trying to survive. Choosing my top 3 was the hardest decision I have ever made in my life, because I knew which 3 films were going to make it, but it's the order that really puzzled me. After thinking about this for a long time, I think I've put the films in the right position that is good for me. And at number 3, which some people who know me will be quite surprised, is Mad Max Fury Road. Now, for a long time, this was my favourite film of the year, and nothing could stop it. But due to certain rules, i.e. films that came out in 2014 but came out in this country in 2015 count as 2015 films, and also other films coming out, it started to go down on the list. But I think third is a respectable place, and Mad Max Fury Road, if you haven't seen it already, is one of the best action films I've seen in my life. It's breathtaking visuals. The fact that most of it is practical is also mind-blowing. And yeah, it's just such a good film. Now, at number 2 is a film that did come out in 2014 for most people. But seeing that it came out in 2015 here, I kind of have to include this. And besides, it's one of my favourite films ever. At number 2, it is Whiplash. If this had come out for us in 2014, this would have been my number 1 film of 2014. But it didn't, so it gets number 2 on my best of 2015 list. And honest to God, it is a great film. The acting, the direction, in my mind, whenever someone says, can you think of a film that is flawless, I just have to say Whiplash, because in my eyes there is nothing wrong with it. Everything is perfect. The dialogue, the direction, the acting, everything is perfect. If you haven't already guessed what's at number 1, then I'd be very surprised. My number 1 film of 2015 is Star Wars The Force Awakens, and I know a lot of people have put this at number 1, but no other film this year have I had as much fun with than Star Wars The Force Awakens. I mean, I know I gave Whiplash a 10 out of 10, and I say it is a flawless film, but watching Star Wars The Force Awakens just gave me everything I wanted and more. It had a great villain, it had great visuals, it was directed perfectly for what it is. Just everything that I wanted from Star Wars and more was given to me in this film. I mean, I know it's not perfect, I can see the flaws, but if you're willing to overlook them for a fun film that is probably the most fun you're going to have in the cinema ever, then Star Wars is the way to go. Anyway guys, that was my best of 2015 list. If you don't agree, tough shit, it's my list. We're all entitled to our own opinion. But I would like to hear what your best films of 2015 are in the comments below. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and like my Facebook page, The Media Critic. And that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching.